Hey Maria, back with another video. It is December 22nd, 3:30 p.m. It is Sunday afternoon, and I'm having one of those lazy days. I'm enjoying listening to the wind outside. My wind chimes are going like crazy, and there's a little draft coming inside the door. So it's blustery today, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of sunlight. I mean, the sun's up, but it's kind of like kind of a gray day. And so on days like I don't really enjoy going outside. I do enjoy the sunlight. And so I'm just kind of sitting here kind of demotivated, not really wanting to do a whole lot. But I hope everyone else is enjoying their Sunday. I'm talking to my fellow TIs and my subscribers who aren't necessarily perps. And if my perps who were my perps and now understand that you shouldn't have been my perp, well, this video really isn't for you. It's more me talking about my situation a little bit and dealing with my feelings, like how all of this is, certain things are becoming more clear to me based on everything that I experienced and all these issues that happened in the past and what it means, And, I never realized that there was so much intense, intense feelings that certain people that I really hardly ever even had contact with, but were directing towards me through Facebook and my ex-family and all these like little campaigns and issues that I had no idea of, because all this time, I had been sitting here in this town, going to work and trying to maintain a job and literally minding my own business. I had no connection as to what was going on and had no idea that my family, my ex-family, and then these people that I used to know from Facebook were, basically trying to tear and sabotage my reputation. And so, now that I have a clearer picture of what happened, it's kind of, what's the word for it? It allows me to make decisions, and I can't say that I'm sentimentally attached. It's unfortunate because, there were some people that I used to know in the past that I liked, and it's sad when you come to find out that under certain circumstances, that these people are willing to sabotage your life in the manner that they did to, just because they needed to feel a sense of superiority for no other reason. Because the people who were involved in my life, I certainly never asked for them to come in and do all this. I was just somebody who, from the past, went to school with these people when I was younger. And I'm talking about people who are not a part of my blood relations, my ex-family. I'm talking about people that I used to know who wanted to join my family in this sort of bullying, I would say. Obviously, you never really understand why people do the things that they do. All I do now is I realize that not everybody is worthy of your friendship. Not everyone is. And that's just, how things are. People can have a smile on their face in front of you, but they might have some sort of agenda or whatever. So you have to look for the sincerity in people. And when people do things like this and you understand why they do it, you understand that it would be foolish for you to think that you should have a relationship with someone who would ever put you in a situation like this, okay? So, it's kind of like I can't feel like I should mourn the loss of these people. So what is it that I'm feeling? I'm feeling kind of attacked, like I was dealing with so much, and I had no way of defending myself, because what was going on was like this rage building up, and it was an illogical rage that was building up, because here I was on Facebook. Off and on, like when I first got my account and back in 2008, I was off and on Facebook. And I wouldn't say that I was consistent on Facebook. I mean, the first few weeks I was on Facebook, it was kind of like, I was kind of fascinated with it because I think it's like this huge, network of people that you knew and people that you don't know. People all over the world are on this like website, and it's just like, it's kind of interesting. But then I tapered off, and then as I was going to work, people's behavior was becoming, they're being rude and whatever. All of these things that take place on Facebook, and the people that you work with, and the gossip and speculation, and what they were speculating was bullshit. I think they were saying, or they assumed that I was flirting with Stephen Lyles on Facebook. But I only contacted him one time, which I already mentioned that before, okay? But if somebody was able to go back into Facebook and look at my account from the time that I sent him that text, and they were able to like look at the files, or somehow they could do that, they would see that I never contacted him after that. So all this time, people were thinking that I was either seeing him, or I was flirting with him, or even I suspect that my family, even Mek's family, was making a ply saying that I changed my entire life to get this particular person, Stephen Lyles. I can assure you, that's not true. And that's what bothers me so much, is that, okay, number one, that's not true. There's no truth to that at all. Yes, I did contact him in 2008. Okay, when I found out that he was behind it back in 2016, I had been contacting him because all this stuff is going on behind my back, and I don't know. And I'm feeling the pressure of it. I'm feeling I'm being abused, basically, because of somebody's either misconception or outright lie. So, all this time I was in, my point is that what difference would it have made? Number one, it's not true, but what difference would, that's why the illogical rage thing, that the fact that people were willing to literally cast stones and treat me in such a hostile manner over something that, number one, wasn't true. But even if it was true, why would that matter? I'm having a hard time understanding. Now, maybe there's a chance that he's married. I don't think he is, but if he was, I don't know. You know what I mean? But whatever the case is, they use flimsy excuses to abuse me at work, and I don't believe that they have their little covert operation as tight as they should. Like, because I said, when you're a TI, they have your neighbors watching it on you. They'll have your people that you go to the grocery store. They're probably reporting things that you buy and stuff like this. And so they think that this person lives in, okay, I thought maybe he lived here only because I kept thinking, okay, he must have something to do with this. Does he live in my neighborhood? I personally am not too sure about that. If he lives in San Francisco, okay, what I do here, he wouldn't have anything to, he wouldn't see me, okay? And I will tell you, if he does live here, I haven't had any interaction with him. I have not seen him, I've spoken to him, nothing. So where's all this coming from? There's like this, it's something illogical about this whole thing. You know what I mean? I can assure you, I never changed anything in my life for Stephen Lyles. Or anyone else for that matter. I had no contact with him. So I don't understand it, and then people were like, bullying me. I got this bullying behavior shit going on from people that I used to know, supporting my family in the bullying, when if they could look back, they can see that all the bullying started when we were kids, and there really was no justification for it. Sure, there were times I got out of a line, but nothing justifies this. This is just outright bullying. I'm somebody who doesn't share the same views as my family, which I have the right to. That is no reason to bully someone. So, the purge of, or my indifference of being cared about by these people, or because I don't really believe that these people have done anything for me. Everything they've done for me has been abusive. It's been like, has shortchanged me. It has been something that has not been to my benefit. Okay. So I'm not emotionally upset over saying goodbye to these people. What I'm upset about is that somebody could do something like this to someone like myself, okay, And that's okay with it. That they're fine with it. Like they have no remorse about what they've caused. And, and then they expect me to sit here and comply with their list of their bullshit rules when I never, number one, asked them to be a part of my life in the first place. And number two, I none of that ever happened in the first place. None of it occurred. Like, I don't have to feel guilty about any of the things that I do in my life because I'm an adult and they weren't invited in anyway. I never, I never had any expectation for these people to be in my life or wanted these people to be, attached to me, So it's like, all this shit to me is so unnecessary and pointless, I do believe that these people got involved in what I consider to be a barbaric act and literally wanted to separate me from, because they felt as though maybe they were threatened by the fact that I had a decent job, okay? Maybe that's what it was, probably, And so they were so barbaric because they knew that I was somebody who struggled for many years. And so they were just grabby and being jealous. Because I will tell you, there is no fucking excuse to do what these people have done other than these people were jealous and grabby and competitive and whatever. And I swear it would never come up into my heart to do this to anybody. I would never. And there's people, I mean, I don't consider myself in my life right now. I don't really, as an adult, I can't see or consider anybody like my outright enemy. Even people like, for example, Joel's family, okay? I don't have anything to do with them. I think what they did, it was inappropriate, okay? But do I look at them as my outright enemy? I just say I don't want anything to do with them, okay? But I will tell you what, I would never think to touch any of their jobs, to have anything to do with anything that they did, okay? Because I know that there are certain things that are not acceptable. That's not acceptable. You know what I mean? And nothing warrants me doing something like that. So I have a good sense of fairness. I have good etiquette. I'm proper, and I know not to abuse people or step over certain boundaries. You know what I mean? I would never do something like that to anybody at all. So what I go over in my mind is that how like people could just have this sick feeling of entitlement, thinking that they want that you should do their jobs and jobs that you don't care about and do things for them that you don't really want to do, and they want you to cater to them. Like, they want you to see God the way that they see them and all this other stuff. Basically shallow you out as a human being so you could live a life that you don't care about. I don't care about what these people had to offer me. I really don't. I never wanted them to offer me anything. But somehow they got into my work and intermingle with people that I knew at work, and they started dictating. I'm wondering how long this goes back. I know that my first job over at Edwards Air Force Base, I secured that job on my own. I worked towards that. Okay? And I never asked these people for anything. Anything. And so if they do feel like they give you something, then they feel like, well, then we want you to do this, this, and this, and this. It's like, no, this is human trafficking is what this is. And I'm disturbed by it. I am disturbed by that. I'm disturbed by people thinking that I have to justify what I did on Facebook, even though there's nothing that happened on Facebook, but I don't have to explain that. I don't. If I wanted to talk to somebody on Facebook, then I had every right to. If he didn't want to respond, then he didn't have to. But the fact is that why should I be attacked for that? Especially since if I was separated from somebody who I don't even know if I was married to in the first place. See, and none of this makes any sense to me. You know what I mean? But I do think that they resent me from being able to grow up and have an improved life because they bullied me so much. And then when they found out that, I wasn't is in the shape or the negative shape that they wanted me to be in, meaning they wanted me to never be able to overcome the kind of abuse that they would give out to me. Okay? And so when they look in on me as an adult, they see, well, you know, she's doing okay. She's okay for herself. She's doing all right. And that bothers them. There is a constant need to abuse me when it comes to this particular ex-family of mine. And I don't ever... I'm not crazy about these people. And as a matter of fact, there's no way in the world I could ever feel any love towards them. And I've made that very clear. You know what I mean? I do have compassion for my mother to a certain extent, but like I said, any sort of compassion that I show or attention that I show to my mother has nothing to do with them. If I decide to see my mom, that doesn't mean that I want to be accepted by my siblings. I don't want any connection to my siblings. Okay? Because my siblings, unlike my mother, which I do believe that my mother encouraged the scapegoating, okay? Whether it by word or whatever, or just the fact that she was somebody who turned a blind eye, whatever the case is, I hold her responsible for these negative children. I do, okay? But still, I do see my mom as somebody who's very ignorant. And I will say that my siblings are ignorant too, okay? And I would say that they're far more ignorant than my mother because they are exposed to the outside world, and they should know right from wrong. They should know right from wrong, but they don't. You know what I mean? Everything that these people have done for me, so that if they set me up for a job, then they abuse me every inch of the way. They've done nothing for me. They've only caused me heartache year after year after year after year. You know, so I can see why they don't do this stuff out front. They do this covertly because in a lot of ways they're cowards. That's one of the reasons why I had my sibling lie in my face and telling me that, you know, get off her property and blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm not going to go too much into it anymore, but my thing is that it is not to my benefit to have any sort of relationship with these people. You know what I mean? There is no love for these people. And there can't be. It's impossible. You know what I mean? It's impossible for somebody who has literally cheated you out of everything that you ever cared about in your life, okay? And then you expect me to have some sort of feelings for them? You know? So I've made my decision. It's not hard for me to make my decision. It's like, you know what? Purge these people who have done nothing but abuse you, okay? And for the people who, you know, who went along with it or whatever, you know what? I need better quality people in my life, okay? And nobody's perfect. We have our ideas of the kind of people we want to be. No one's ever going to be like, you know, going to fit that bill like 100%, okay? But I do know that there are certain things I cannot tolerate, and I cannot tolerate what these people have done to me. So I made my decision. So I'm just trying to get over some of the anxiety issues, like I had mentioned before. Because stalking, whether you know who your stalker is or you don't know who your stalker is, in this case I do know. And for some people that gives them a lot of peace of mind. They're like, well, okay, well, that kind of makes me feel better because I know I can put a face to it. I know who's behind it. That makes me feel better. In some ways, it makes me feel better, and in some ways, it terrifies me because when I realize what my ex-family is capable of and the sort of evil that could come into their hearts, that makes me sick to my stomach. It makes me sick to my stomach that these people wanted me to fail. Wanted me as a woman who was taking care of a child all these years. When I think about this, okay, somebody who was taking care of a child, doing the best that they could, you know, based on what I had, I was doing the best I could, and these people wanted me to fail. I can tell you that makes me very sick. Okay? Meanwhile, while I was sitting here struggling at my work and stuff, maybe I never saw them that much, but I never wished any ill on them. Never. I never wished any ill on them. But to know that these people wanted nothing more for me to do than to suffer. And it showed in every action. In everything that they did. They never wanted me to ever feel safe at work. They always wanted me to feel like I was working under some form of intimidation or threat. These people didn't care about me at all. Okay? So, I don't feel anything. And if they're sorry now, well, then they're sorry because they, like I said, they got caught. They know I've exposed this and I know what they've done. And that's what it is. That's all it is. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I'm not very much into the Christmas spirit. Some of the little Christmas songs have been creeping in on my, like, YouTube channel. Because I listen to, like, instrumental music sometimes during the day. And it's mostly just for background noise and filler because, you know, sometimes I don't like being in silence. So I throw on some music. And, like, the older I get, the more I'm starting to like a lot of instrumental music. Not so much with lyrics as much as I used to. I still like my music, but I guess I'm more into instrumentals now. It's just calm, and it soothes my nerves because I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety. So it helps me a little bit. So they've been throwing in some Christmas songs, or not that I'm doing it deliberately. It just, like, after a certain album or whatever on YouTube ends, the next one will come up on the queue, so then I end up listening to some Christmas music. But Christmas, for me this year, and probably going forward, I really don't give a shit about Christmas. I think it's a beautiful time of the year. I like looking at people's Christmas lights, but I'm not going out and buying a tree. I'm not doing any of that stuff, you know, but I can't really say that I'm in the Christmas spirit this year. Maybe one day I will be, but it's not happening this year. I'm just still kind of trying to nurse myself back from this tragedy. And when I look at it, is a tragedy. It's a tragedy to, you know, wake up and see a reality, you know, that should have been more obvious. I remember certain times where my family kind of expressed the fact that, you know, they kind of resented me. But like I said, I always thought it was like a bad day. You know, I never realized that, you know, that there was some sort of sick competition or anything like that. You know, we can't help it if we're different. I was always told, you know, one thing, that it was okay. Like, it was encouraged to be different. You know what I mean? And then when you do something, then all of a sudden they change the tune. You know what I mean? So I can't really say that I'm to blame for any of that, because I'm not. And I refuse to take any blame for any of it. You know what I mean? And that's not me trying to shuck the blame or anything like that. It's just, it's obvious. I mean, like I said, let the facts speak for themselves. I was here all by myself. I had no idea this was going on. I don't have to, as an adult, explain why I do anything. You know what I mean? If they were pissed off with me communicating with Stephen Lyles, well, I'm sorry. Okay, but that was a long time ago. And I can assure you, my life had nothing to do with Stephen Lyles. The things that I do in my life has nothing to do with him at all. I don't see him. I don't talk to him. And so, you know, and I accept it. He doesn't answer my text messages, so I get it. You know, he must have done something wrong, guilty. He could have probably been a part of this whole campaign of making me lose my job in the first place. That's a possibility. And he may feel ashamed of himself. I get that. That might be the case. Whatever it is, you know, I will say that anybody who was a part of the Sabotage Maria, why in the hell would I want to have anything to do with you? I don't. You know what I mean? I do think that they owe it to me to get out of my shit and stop making my life a miserable hell. That's one thing. But I wouldn't want to have anything to do with somebody who did that. I just wouldn't. You know what I mean? That's just logical. You know? And it's better for me to just, like, you know, people who really care about you would not do that. They would not do that to another person, period. And there's no exception. There's no, like, I wouldn't ever, I can't change my view on that. I just can't. So anyway, you guys stick to your little evil group and whatever, but I'm not gonna be a part of it anymore. So I'm gonna wrap up this video, and I will be back with another video some other time later. Take care. Bye bye.